last challenge is probably our most interesting. You want Jira Service Management and its associated tools to do the majority of the heavy lifting for you. And for us, that involves automation wherever possible. We've built a lot of different automation in our systems, but today I want to focus on 3. So the first is the client onboarding, when we need to add clients to our systems, for which we use automation for Jira and Script Runner. The next is how we keep a feed of live notifications and how we've integrated Slack. And then we've also got, because we're running a service desk operated on contract of hours, we want to bring visibility on how many hours are left. So we've created some automatic emails to monitor the level of the client contracts. So our first mini problem was our onboarding process contained 30 manual steps. It's a multi-step process, and we wanted to remove the risk of human error. So we used automation for Jira, which comes natively in JSM, and Script Runner to do that. Let me show you how I onboard someone and the actions it's kicking off. So onboarding a new client involves creating objects in Jira, JSM, Confluence, and Insight. So we've created this form in our internal Jira Service Management, and it collects all the necessary information we need to create these objects. So these are our first actions, which is creating the customer in JSM and adding the contacts with the necessary permissions. The next actions are setting up all the information that populates our Insight fields, including creating the client in Insight. Attached to the client, we also have the client contract with the allocated hours. And finally, it creates our customized customer portal. This is a Confluence skin we've added to our Jira Service Management, and it gives it a nice interface. So here you can see our request types. We've also got our contractual information, our contacts, and we've also added the training information down the bottom because we found if tickets were following a certain theme, it was easy for us to just link straight into what training courses were available to help. So now you've seen the actions that are kicked off by this one form. Let me show you what's happening. So first, we've got the onboarding form that I'm creating and logging. From there, we've got an A for J rule that creates JSON. So this is the A for J rule. This JSON is then received by Script Runner. This kicks off some Groovy scripts. Now, we've got Groovy scripts. It could be anything complex, a multi-step process. It could be triggering a REST API. It could be sending an email, anything you need. From there, once those actions are executed, then the request is closed. I can't emphasize enough, we went from 30 manual steps down to one form. We want to get people on board and up and running as soon as possible, and I want to spend less time doing admin. So now you can use this to automate any of your current business processes. We've used it for onboarding, but you could use it for employee onboarding or a legal review process. Our next mini problem is we want to keep up to date what's happening in JSM and all our other systems. We want to catch any errors in time logging, find out if contracts are expiring, and see any ticket updates. To do this, we want to make sure all our tools are as connected as possible. So this is why we work to integrate our Slack. Now we use Slack, but you could use anything like MS Teams or WebEx. I'll show you an example of a comment being added to JSM and how it appears in our Slack. So we're back with our client, Gavin, and he's about to update a ticket. So he's made a decision on this plugin, and he's going to add a comment to the ticket and send it. And now the comment's been added. So we're going to jump into the support engineer's view of Slack. And here you can see it's going straight into our managed services alert channel. And we've got a link straight to the comment. So if I click here, it'll send me straight to JSM and straight to that comment. So I'm able to action it straight away. So I've just shown you a comment update from Jira Service Management in Slack, but we actually pull in 3 systems. We pull in Insight by Insight automations with our contract information and work logs. We have our development team updates from Jira, and we also have some additional A4J generated notifications from Jira Service Management. And how are we doing this? We're using the Jira Slack connector app. Using plugins and apps boosts the functionality of your existing tools and allows you to integrate into other systems. So now we can see all our system notifications in the one place. Lastly, if you've ever run a support desk based on hours, the most common question you're going to get from clients is how many hours do I have left? If you're manually pulling out reports to check hours or doing any kind of manual reporting, please consider adding some level of automation like this. I'll show you an example of how a support engineer logging time, drawing down the hours, passing a set threshold, and generates an automatic email. So firstly, I've got my agent hat on, and I'm logging the work I undertook on the analysis of this ticket. So I've got a 20-hour contract, and I'm starting with 12 hours remaining. So I'm going to log the 2 hours of work here. This is the 2 hours. And I'm going to add a comment to my log. I'm going to log it. From there, you can see the contract is now drawn down to 10 hours remaining. Now, looking at our contract in Insight, we can see the contract is drawn down to the 10 hours remaining. Now, as we had a 20-hour contract, that will now cross the 50% threshold. Because it's crossed this threshold, triggers a notification email that emails the client and all of our key internal stakeholders. So how this is working is we've got the work log crossing the threshold, and now we've got the Insight automation rule kicking off, and that triggers the calculations performed in Script Runner to work out if it's crossed the threshold. From there, we've got an A for J rule that triggers the threshold notification email. From there, the email gets sent to the client and the key internal stakeholders. So instead of the client asking where the hours are at, they've been proactively notified of how much time they have left. Now, this is not just for hours monitoring. You could use this to notify anything that draws down. So that could be monetary, it could be physical assets like laptops, it could be resource allocation, it could be used to keep track of internal budgets and send emails to PMs, anything. Using the out-of-the-box automation for Jira and the help of some additional plugins like Script Runner means you can spend less time on admin and more time helping clients. So our last challenge, leveraging tools, is done by utilizing the built-in automation for Jira and some additional plugins.